All right, everybody. Once again, my brother had to save the day and play some music while I was out. But sounds like he was playing something good for once. I'm just kidding. Mastodon's pretty nice, but I think Genesis is better. But what's it called? Fear not, because the wait was worth it, because finally we have Aleksandra Kaniak herself in studio here.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for coming in, Aleksandra. It's great to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, you're one of the few people to come in like live to the studio and record live. I mean, most people they do it on the phone or Skype, but yeah, so thank you very much.
I understand, yeah, it's probably more convenient.
Oh, yeah.
But since I live in Westwood, I figure out I'll just come in person, because I believe in-person interviews more personal than the one over the phone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and, well, I don't know how many of you out there are gamers or anything, but just in case, like I said, she was Lieutenant Sophia in Command & Conquer Red Alert 2 and the expansion pack Yuri's Revenge. But she's not just limited to video games. She's played in other things like well, why don't you list some projects for yourself? I want to let you speak for yourself.
Well, why don't I speak about some recent projects rather than the past? Well, many of you have probably seen the movie Water for Elephants, and in that particular movie I played Robert Pattinson's mom, so I had a chance to work with Robert Pattinson and Christoph Waltz and Reese Witherspoon. It was a wonderful project, and on that project I was also hired to work with Robert Pattinson as his dialect coach, as he had to speak some Polish, and I'm originally from Poland. Many people think I'm Russian because I played a lot of Russians, and Lieutenant Sophia was Russian. And yes, I speak Russian. My Russian accent is obviously very good, but I am originally from Poland. So in that particular movie, I got to play a Polish person for the very first time, which was exciting. And the movie is absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend it. And I was working on it also as a dialect coach for Robert, who had to speak Polish to the elephant. And there was naturally a beautiful project, very rewarding. Then from my recent work, you can also see me. I was just guest starring on Grimm. It's a very popular show on NBC. It runs on Friday nights, and I was in episode, I believe, 3. You know what? It was the 6th episode of the 3rd season, and it aired in January 3rd, and the name of it is Red Menace.
Oh,
so, and next month I will have another show coming up. I will be on a TV, starring on a TV show called Castle.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a fairly popular. Well, it is very popular. It's 7th season, and they are still going strong. It's an ABC show. It's again network TV. Great part, and I was playing there with Ilya Baskin and Stana Katic.
Oh, I see. And well, it sounds like you're finally getting the recognition you're due. I mean, you're on Grimm, you're on this show,
Castle, yeah.
and you're on Water for Elephants. Although I was kind of disappointed when they spoiler that killed off her character. I haven't been that upset since they killed John Carradine in House of Frankenstein as Dracula, like 15 minutes in. So, yeah.
Oh, when they killed off my character, Water for Elephants.
Yeah, I was like, she's finally. I'm like, whoa, she's finally in the big time.
Big time movie, right? And they kill her. How dare they? I know. Trust me, I was disappointed myself, but. Is what is.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope some people put 2 and 2 together. Like, hey, Lieutenant Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, are there any other projects you might be interested in working on, like in the future? Any shows right now? Anything?
I definitely enjoyed working on video games, and I truly hope they will make another Red Alert. I was in 2 of them, and I have to say Lieutenant Sophia was absolutely one of my favorite characters. I know they did Red Alert 3, and they started with a brand new cast, and from what I understand, it wasn't as popular. So I'm hoping they will do Red Alert 4 and rehire all of us, the old crew, because I think it was a great crew, and gamers got used to it, and the same characters, and I hope they still have that suit. It wasn't very comfortable, I have to admit, but it was good. It looked good. I liked it, and if they're not going to use it, I would like to, own it and dressed up as Lieutenant Zafia on Halloween. How's that, right? That would be good. That would be great.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's iconic, and I mean, like I said, I told you before the interview, Red Alert 3 wasn't bad, but it didn't have the same feel, and I mean, but even then, like with the other Command & Conquer games, I don't know if you were familiar with Command & Conquer Generals, it was like they were trying to move, it was like they were moving away from that, like they didn't have the FMV videos in between, like, I don't know, I guess they thought people didn't like it, even though that's completely untrue, as evidenced by the fact that we have you in here right now on the radio. It's just, I don't get that, but I mean, yeah, it's good. But yeah, so it seems like life is treating you well,
Life is treating me well, yes, definitely. I also, besides acting, I also do translations as well, because I also work as a dialect coach for other actors when they need to get an Eastern European accent or speak, let's say, Polish. So I worked on shows like Two Broke Girls, for instance, as a dialect coach as well. It was a great show. So I would love to do a guest starring part on Two Broke Girls. I think the cast is great. The show is great. It's well written. It's funny as hell. And after I started working on that show, I watch it every day now. So yeah, there are certainly a lot of wonderful projects out there that I would like to work on, and I think there are a lot of wonderful TV shows. When I first started in the business, TV wasn't that great. There were a few good shows, but the rest was just really not that interesting. So I was more interested maybe in doing movies or independent movies, and of course video games were great. But nowadays there are so many wonderful shows and so much great talent. I mean, Halle Berry is doing this wonderful new show called Extend, and I've been watching it, and I would love to be on one of those shows. And these are Academy Award-winning actors who are working on TV, and TV has been great. I think it's great nowadays. It's really good quality stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is hearsay obviously, but I've heard from a lot of like actors from like who acted on TV in the 90s. They said that it's a lot harder now too, because like movie stars are like going to TV shows. Before the 90s they wouldn't do that.
Oh, absolutely. So absolutely, and it would be unheard of for somebody who won an Academy Award to do a TV show, for somebody, for instance, like Halle Berry to do a TV show. It would be just absolutely unheard of, because once you go to TV, they would say, oh, you will never go back to the movies. But what happened was a lot of wonderful actors like George Clooney came out from TV. George Clooney started on ER, and they became movie stars. And I think part of the reason why actors, big actors and movie actors go to TV, well, it's steady work. And, you go to work just like everybody else, rather than going to some distant location, which sounds fabulous, but then you're away from your friends and family for about 5-6 months. It's a little lonely, and not always you're on a fabulous location. You might go to a country you don't like, right? You might not be able to take your kids or your dog or whoever you're attached to. So it's a little hard. And I think the other reason is that like I said, a lot of those actors become executive producers on the show as well, and if the material is really, really good and well written, then, you can act. I mean, you can definitely, and you see shows, for instance, like Shameless, very well written, very well acted. Again, actors who started in movies. Yeah. So yes, for actors that don't have a name or don't have an Academy Award, it's harder for us to book parts or even guest starring parts, because there's so much more competition. And if you sometimes you go and you audition and you hear them already making an offer to somebody else who has a name in it, and then sometimes I watch the show and I'm like, oh, now I understand why I didn't get it, because so and so decided I want that part. Yes, so it does happen. Yes, unfortunately.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, it wasn't like that. Some 20 years ago,
no,
when you were getting started, right?
No.
Yeah. You want to talk about like your beginnings in the business, because I mean, you were in a early movie called The Art of Passion. Watched that recently, and you're pretty good in that. You want to share about that project?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was one of my very, very first projects. You see, coming to Los Angeles from a foreign country is really not that easy to get in the business. It was very challenging. It's from anybody, for anybody. And I was basically doing lots of commercials at the time, some modeling, but I didn't really have a good agent. I was going from one agent to another agent, and finally I found the agent that I'm still with until today, Joel Kleiman. And he submitted me for that project, and he submitted me for the lead. And I was shocked because I have never carried a lead in a feature film before. So basically I was just doing small little parts, and that's what I was submitted for. So I was shocked. I didn't really think I would get it because I had no credits at the time, and I booked it. And I thought, well, this relationship is starting well. So yes, so The Art of Passion was written and directed by Arthur Bjornegali, who is a painter mainly. And he's directed some stuff since, but he's mainly a painter, and he stayed a painter. And that movie was sort of based on his life and what he experienced in Cape Cod as a young man. So it was actually sort of a true story, I'm sure. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Met some wonderful people. It was a small production. It was a small independent movie. We kind of all became friends. And my co-star, Pablo Bryant, I found him on Facebook recently. He's doing documentaries right now and directing mainly. And I'm not, then one of the girls that was in there opened a furniture store. So I think seems like I am the only person from that movie that is still acting. So,
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's it called? Well, thank goodness, you know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And a couple of years after that, you went into you were in a TV show. You had a guest on the Sentinel. I had never heard of it, and I watched it, and I'm like, I'm actually interested in this. You know, what was that show? What was that experience like for you?
I loved it. The Sentinel was a show that unfortunately never found its audience and never went to syndication, but at one point it was fairly popular, and then the guy who had the lead on it went on to star on a lot of different TV shows afterwards, Richard Berge. And I loved my character. What happened was the casting director on that show really liked me, and she kept on bringing me in to read for many different parts. And they would always say, yes, she was great, but. She was great, but. And I always had that but. So eventually, there was this part, I heard about that part. It was Lieutenant Katia Vaslova, and I knew it was a very big part, and I read it, and I knew I could be perfect in it. I called my agent, I said, what's going on? How come I am not reading for that part? He said, I spoke to them. They said, you are so nice, and this character demands a lot of strength and anger. I was like, are you kidding me? I said, I just tell them I will be there. So anyway, they called me at the last moment. I was at the hairdresser. My hair is turning green. I'm getting some highlights. He calls me, and I am completely unprepared. So as I'm driving and reading the parts, my hair is still wet. I was pretty angry by the time I got there. So I read, and I booked the part.
Oh,
and
awesome.
yeah, it shoot in Vancouver, Canada. And that part was just so right for me. And I so got into the part. Then somebody brought their kid on the set, and I started playing with a kid. And they go, oh my God, you're actually really nice because we thought you were so tough and strong. I'm like, well, that's the character I'm playing.
A complete
right?
180 from what they were saying,
well,
right?
I mean, you know.
Yeah. And it seemed like they were setting you up to be like a recurring character at the very end, you know, and then at the end of the show. It's
you know, I came very close to quite a few recurring. What happened was it was a possibility, and then they thought about it, and I spoke to the producers. I said, you guys have 3 guys. Would be nice to have a woman, and I'm tall. Richard Berge is tall, and I am, you know, I can come across as this really strong, so that would be a nice little thing going on. So they thought about it, and then they decided to look at other actresses, and then they decided to go with this Australian actress, I forgot her name, and they put her as a series regular for the next few episodes, and then the show ended, and there you go. Maybe if I were on it, it wouldn't have. I don't know, but that was kind of my idea, and then somebody else got it, yeah.
Well, that stinks. Well, if we could revisit, if you were talking about your beginning when you first began, you just came from like I'm sorry,
Poland.
Poland. Okay, you just came from Poland, and so what's it called? You were just starting in LA. But I mean, and you came before communism collapsed, right? Before, after, like
right at the time, right at the
okay.
time when it was collapsing, because during the communism we were not able to have our passports at home. You basically had to go and apply to the police station and ask them for a passport. I know it's a very foreign idea to Americans. Like, what? Yes, you couldn't just leave the country. So we didn't have passports at home. So as soon as we were able to get our passports, I thought, well, where did I want to go? And I've always wanted to go to the United States of America. I was lucky. I got a visa. I don't know how that happened because people my age were not getting visa to come to the U.S. And I pretty much knew before I even saw America that that was the country where I wanted to live in. And I came in, I got my green card and then citizenship, and still here. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so and you were actually already you were like in your at least your teens when it was still Poland was still communist. So do you have any memories from that? Like, was it like oppressive? Because I know it was the 80s.
I do have memories of it, but you see, first of all, Poland didn't have it as bad as other communistic country like Czechoslovakia or let's say Romania, Bulgaria. It wasn't as bad in Poland, and we were not as oppressed. And also during that time, when I was growing up, it wasn't that bad anymore. From what I understand, it was really bad in the 50s and 60s. That's where a lot of people were disappearing and getting killed in political prisons, and the censorship was really harsh. But when I was growing up, it wasn't as bad anymore. It was sort of in my teens, it was already after the whole Wałęsa movement and Solidarity movement, and we had martial law. I remember martial law, that was scary. But as a kid, you kind of go, cool, tanks on the street, wow, we don't have to go to school, great. You don't realize the seriousness of the situation, right? But there were Polish tanks, not Russian tanks, because it was a Polish martial law, so we got lucky that we didn't get run over by the Russians at the time. So, I remember it, but it was more like, gosh, when you're a kid, you don't really understand the situation, or even as a teenager, you start understanding it a little bit, but you don't know what the freedom of expression is. You know, you're not supposed to say bad things about the government because you will go to jail, so you don't. But it wasn't really as harsh, like I said, as other countries. It was not as difficult as in China or Korea, that's for sure, yeah. I mean, there were limitations. We probably didn't have as much. Let's say in the wintertime, I had one winter coat and one pair of winter boots, but I didn't realize you can have 20, you know. Once you come to America, it's like, yeah, I need at least 4. I need that heel, I need brown shoes and black and, whatever color they have. So...
Yeah. And and you mentioned Russia. What's it called? I mean, this happens a lot. A lot of people. What's called I guess this is per the course, but a lot of people conflate Poles with Russia and with Russians. And what's it called? Right. Do you get that a lot? And I hear that Poles get really mad about that. Like it really makes them mad.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I get that a lot because I do look Russian. My family is originally from the eastern part of Poland. Matter of fact, my family is from the Western Ukraine. That's where they came from. They were moved, actually thrown out after the war.
Oh, wow.
It was still the war. It was the beginning of 1945 when they were moving them around. So yes, I have those very Russian features. It's a Slavic language, so the accent is very similar. So yes, I get that a lot, that I'm Russian, especially that there is a Russian community in Los Angeles, quite large Russian community. If I lived in Chicago, everybody would say, oh, you must be Polish because all the Polish people live in Chicago, right? There is a large Polish community in Jersey. So I get that a lot. And I don't get mad anymore, but Polish people get mad because Americans say it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. Trust me, it's not. It's like if you told a Korean guy, Japanese, Korean, same thing. No, it's not.
And some people believe that too.
No, it's not.
The best way to make that case is to say it's like comparing a Texan to an Englishman. You know?
Right.
It's because it demonstrates it so.
Right.
It demonstrates it so perfectly. You know, like how silly that is. But and so now, like I said, now you're here, and you do translations. So
I do translations as well. Yes, I do document translation. I'm also court certified, so I do translations. Okay. In court as well, and for federal cases it happens.
I see.
Yeah,
and so would you say that Polish is a particularly hard language? Like, subjective, of course, but like for Americans, is it hard for us to get our minds around it?
Yes, Polish is a very, very difficult language. Matter of fact, they recently did a study, the most difficult languages in the world to learn, and I think Polish was number 2. I forgot what number 1 was, but Polish was number 2. And I was once trying to teach an American gal Polish, and she was just not grasping it. And I was as frustrated as she was, because she was trying to ask me how to explain certain things and what are the rules. I said, there are none, you just know. But how do you know when you use this rather than that? I said, you just know. But how do you know? I can't tell you, you just know. So it's a very complicated language with a very, very complex grammar. And that's why it's so difficult to learn.
I see. I've learned I've attempted to learn Russian I've attempted to learn Hebrew here, but I never could bring myself to try Polish because I heard so much, like, it's really hard.
It is very, very hard.
I barely got by in Russian, and I completely did horribly in Hebrew, so I wasn't going to take that risk. But yeah, and so. Oh, I mean, I brought this up when I asked you, Emma. You were in Wolfenstein recently, the new Wolfenstein game. Can you tell me more about that game? Because I know about it, but I've never played.
Right. I wish I could tell you more about it. All I can tell you is that the project was in the working for a very long time. We shot it a while ago. And it was very sort of mysterious. First of all, it had a different name when I was working on it, that they changed the name. And to us actors, they only gave us as little as possible knowledge so we can play. Because from what I understand, the gentleman who wrote and directed it, the Swedish gentleman, is very well known in the gaming world. And there was his new game coming out, so they kept it as a secret. So I never got the whole script. I never got all the lines. Basically, as I was on the set, they were feeding it to me. And that work was a little bit different than working on, let's say, Red Alert, because it was very physical. What happened was I was in this suit, and then they put those sensors on your face and marks on your face in the camera, and then you run around with this little antler around your face, and the camera records your face and your facial movements. Then in the actual game, there will be a person that will kind of look like me, but it will be digitalized. It won't be actually me, and they will put me in certain clothing, whatever, I don't even know. And they'd never send me the copy of it once it was finished, so I haven't played it or seen it either. I have no idea what it looks like. But it was very physical. Like, we had those sensors, and you have to get fitted every single time you go in front of a camera. You go inside this grid, and then we had to run around, and I actually had to do all the physical action that was there. I actually had to do it. Yeah, so that was all hard, especially with that antler and that suit with those. I had a picture of it. Unfortunately, I changed my phones and I lost it, but it was very weird. Like, they put those balls on your fingers, on your body, on all your joints, so when you're moving, it will record. It captures motion capture, yeah.
Well, that's crazy. Well, at least, I mean, it must feel pretty cool to at least be like a part of that kind of project.
It was a cool project because it was a wild idea. The whole idea is that during the Second World War, the Germans win. And Hitler's dream comes true. Now we have the Third Reich that's going to reign for 1,000 years. So the game is about what life is in Poland, and other countries, but it was taking place in Poland during the Third Reich. And it's about, I guess, the underground and people trying to fight the system. So that's what it's all about. I mean, I think it's fascinating, and from what I understand, somebody is making a movie or a TV show about it. It sounds kind of dark to me, but,
anything involving Nazis is going to be dark.
Imagine if Nazis won. Oh, goodness. But that's what it was. That was the idea behind it. So it's kind of a wild idea. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the evolution of the idea of Red Alert, where the Nazis, what's called start World War II. I mean, the Soviets start World War II. This was just, the Nazis started World War II. They just won. So.
Yes, they just won. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you know so from what you were able to tell, was your character a good guy, a freedom fighter, or was he like a Nazi?
The character was a good character. She was a doctor in a mental institution trying to save her patients, I probably shouldn't. Yeah, I can't say the rest.
It's not out yet?
The movie is out, but I'm sorry, the game is out, but I do get killed. I get killed. Yeah, no.
There they go again.
It's my second death scene I've played. I had none, and suddenly death scenes. Yes,
I know it's unfair. I was hoping you were going to say that they were a bad guy, because that would mean you would play a Soviet officer and a Nazi officer. Well, presumably a Nazi officer.
No, that would have been fun to play that, I have to say. But no, I played a good character this time. Recently, I've been playing good characters. Something changed here. Usually, I played really. I know, right? I'm telling you, I want the Red Alert 4. I want to get back into that suit. I want to kill somebody, right? I want to shoot some guns. What happened here? Now, recently, it changed. I played a lot of good. Well, on Grimm, the character wasn't exactly good, but she wasn't bad either. She does kill people. She turns into a wild creature, but only for a reason. She had a good reason to trying to kill a young, beautiful girl who's trying to seduce her husband. And that's natural, right? That's not bad.
On top of poisoning him, that too. But and so well, I mean, that show's been on since 2011. Is there? And I mean, you were in the third season. So is there any chance? I mean, heard anywhere that you might be recurring for that?
I could. I mean, I didn't die. The guy who played my husband died, but I didn't die. And obviously, I got arrested. But as you know, they can do some swapping of spies between Russia and maybe she escaped from jail, and there is this whole European thing going on Grimm, where the main guy who is half Grimm goes there all the time. So there is some. I can see that as a possibility, and I know they brought some characters back. I loved the show. Actually, shoots in Portland, which is a wonderful, wonderful city. I had a wonderful time, and I would definitely love to come back on that show. Sure. Yeah, I'm going back to Portland. There are some restaurants I haven't eaten. It's a foodie town. They have great food in there.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's like hipster capital.
Yeah. That's where 20-year-olds go to retire. Yeah.
And so, are you? I checked on IMDb and it says you have an upcoming project called American Bistro, and that's an actual film, right?
Yes, it's a film. It's an over-the-top comedy. It's directed by a lovely young man. He must be 22 right now. He was 21 at the time. Yeah. So again, I play this kind of good and bad character, who with a questionable morality, but I'm just being misunderstood. It's one of those characters.
I see.
So that seemed like a great project. The script was really good. I liked it, and I enjoy working on it. I met some wonderful actors. I haven't seen the movie yet. It's not out yet. I know they are still editing, and I know they did a few reshoots, so I don't really have any more information on it than what you see on IMDb, besides the fact that it's, an outrageous comedy, one of those over-the-top comedies,
Any idea if you get killed or not?
I didn't get killed. I did not get killed in that one, no, and it actually has sort of a positive ending for me. In a way.
Thank God. Maybe. So we're gonna have to pour all our money into that one, so you can get more roles like that.
Right. I would love to. I would love to work a little bit more in comedy as well, because as you can see, most of my roles are rather dramatic, and the TV that I do is mainly 1 hour drama, and I think I got that. I can do that, and that's fantastic. But I would definitely like to work in comedy more and do some more comedy, especially outrageous comedy and comedy that is very physical. I would love to do a sitcom. I have never done a sitcom. So it's been something that I'm thinking about and preparing for, something I would like to do.
I see. Yeah, all right. And can you? I mean, you've been, besides Red Alert and Wolfenstein, I think you've been at least one other game. Was it Cygirls?
Yeah, there was Cygirls. It was a Japanese. It was a Japanese game. They recorded, because they also had a American version of that game. I've never played the game, and for that particular game, they just used my voice. And there was a girl, a cartoon created that had red hair. I don't have red hair. I'm a brunette. And her name was Raven, and she was Russian, but they just used my voice, and then the only thing that they did when I did the voiceover, they recorded my lips, because they wanted to see how they move. So that way they made the cartoon move her lips like that. But she didn't look much like me, but I have to say she was gorgeous. I liked it. They even made dolls, and there was a raven doll and everything. Supposedly the game was very popular in Japan. I haven't gotten a copy on that game. See, on Red Alert, I did get a copy. I got the collector's package where I had the behind the scenes CD and the music, and there were even little figurines. Well, the figurines I have given away to somebody's son because they loved it. So
I see.
Yeah, but the rest I still have. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. All right. And so, what do you have? I mean, like you mentioned that on the set, you didn't really get to interact with the people because it was just you on a green screen. But did you? And you didn't even get to meet Udo Kier, who played Yuri.
I didn't meet Udo Kier. No, what happens is the way they do the video games. Basically, when you see my whole studio and when I was working, when I was doing, there was nothing there. I was basically either standing or sitting against the blue screen. And when I had to point into something or do something on my console, there was nothing there. They just told me approximately where it is. I saw it and I knew what it would look like, but I had absolutely nothing in there. And you're basically playing to the camera, right? So I wasn't really playing with other people. When there was another person that was speaking, that the voice would come in from the camera or behind the camera, somebody would read with me, but the actual actor wasn't there. Working in video games, it's much different than working on a TV show or a movie, because you actually do meet the actors, you have to interact with them. But on video games, unless you do interact with them and you are together in the scenes, which Lieutenant Zofia never did. She spoke to people through the phones. And so I never met Udo Kier. I was just there and I was working the entire day by myself in that crazy suit, which was very exciting at first, but then after a few hours, that rubber and the sweating underneath, that was, was what it was. Yeah. And then you, in the studio, and you record, you basically stand in a tiny little studio like this, right, and they just record your voice, and you just record line after line. They start you off with quiet lines, and then at the end you start yelling and screaming things like, get out of the way, and all that, and the next day you have no voice. Basically, that's what happens. But no, I met Kari Vurer because one day it was half a day me, half a day her, so I had the opportunity to meet her. But I never met Udo Kier. I never met the guy that played Romanov. It was just we all worked on separate days. That's how we were scheduled. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a shame too about Romanov, because the actor Nicholas Roth, he died like I think the year Red Alert 3 came out, right before.
Oh no, I didn't know that. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess he. I get all right. I liked his work, but I never met him, so I guess he will not be coming back. Yeah, I have a feeling he won't be coming back. Okay, well,
that explains why they had Tim Curry in Red Alert 3 as a solo premiere.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain you not being there or Udo Kier being there. So I still hold it against them for that.
I do too. It was, like I said, it was one of my favorite characters, and I definitely wanted to come back. I mean, I love Lieutenant Zofia, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I hope a lot of you out there do too. I'm talking into the microphone, obviously, but I'm just,
a lot of you out there, yes.
Yeah, you get into character kind of right here.
Yes. No, that was a great game. That was a really, really great game, extremely popular. I mean, obviously I had fans all over the world to play that game. I one time had somebody, a student from Sweden that moved in across the hall from me, and one day, we're talking. I said, I'm an actress and I did this video game. He goes, no, you're not Lieutenant Zofia. I said, yes, I am. You want to see a picture? You don't recognize me, comrade? How dare you? When was the last time you played the game? So he was very excited about it, yeah.
Maybe he didn't recognize the hair because she had it like slicked back.
Yeah, slicked back, and the makeup was very sort of dark and dramatic. Yeah, sure, I mean, he probably saw me, and at one point my hair, at the time I think my hair was really long. And it's sometimes difficult to recognize a person without the costume or the hair, definitely.
I'm curious, did anything remotely resembling what Lieutenant Zofia, like her clothing and her hair, did anything like that exist in communist Poland when you were little? Anything?
Not Not really. No. Obviously, nobody is going to dressed in a one-piece suit and in a high heels while wearing going to combat. So no, of course not. But it's a video game, so you must exaggerate. And that suit was really kind of cool, and it was custom made for me, and all the insignia and everything. Yeah, and of course I guess they wanted somebody who looks very exotic. So I do look exotic, but they definitely, put the makeup a little bit darker, slick the hair back, because they wanted her to be kind of dangerous and mysterious, and had a certain style, and she was strong and tough, but they do wanted her to be in a way a little bit feminine. They wanted something, that there is maybe a little bit of a soft side to her. At least I tried to do it that way.
A break from Romanoff and Yuri, right?
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
But all right. Wow, we made 14 minutes before I get off, we made a lot of good time right now. We covered a lot of ground, really.
Yeah,
so we made lots. I wonder if we should go. I have some requests, but I wonder if I should play them right now. We got Mother Goose by Jethro Tull. What kind of music do you listen to?
I pretty much like everything as it's good. As long as it's good, and there are certain songs that stay with me for a while. But I do like the rock classics. You see, when you look at music and something that was popular maybe in the 80s is no longer popular today, and it sounds silly, but some songs... Dire Straits used to be a great 80s band. That was a great band. I don't know if you remember that. I know their work, but that was a great band. There were some bands that today we are like, oh, God.
Yeah.
But there are some bands from the 60s and 70s that are great. I'm not too crazy about, I wouldn't listen to the music from the 50s or 20s. No. That's too far for me. But other than that, I like the rock classic. I also like the modern pop. I think there are some great songs out there and great performance. I listen to classical music as well, and I enjoy the opera as well. Yes, I do. Yes.
I actually managed to sneak some classical and opera in here.
Oh, you did?
Not this particular show, but I do from time to time. But more often than not, because it's all it's a summer, and so the restrictions are not in place. So All right, so we could keep going, obviously, but I got requests, and I don't want to spurn my listeners. I don't want to discourage them from making further requests in the future. So I think we might I think we'll play them right now. So okay. This is PC. Yeah. All right, and first up is Mother Goose by Jethro Tull, and the front man for that band was Ian Anderson, and this might be of interest to some of you, but he is actually playing at the Segerstrom Performing Arts Center in Costa Mesa over in Orange County. So actually it's this Thursday, so the tickets aren't sold out yet, but they might within the week. So I'd recommend you guys buy them as soon as possible. Hopefully I can get one this week. So so I'm going to play that for you guys, and All right, here's Mother Goose by Jethro Tull. Oh, and let me sign. Well, first, I want to sign up for Aleksandra Kaniak. I want to thank her again for coming in here. She's like I said, she's one of the few people who's actually come in studio, so that's really awesome. And talked live, no less. And she has been in Red Alert 2 and the expansion pack Yuri's Revenge, The Art of Passion, Water for Elephants, The Sentinel, and Grimm. And so keep an eye out for her, because she's got some more projects coming up.
I have some more projects coming up, and you can also follow me on Twitter at Kaniak 2010, Kaniak 2010, and I'll be posting my new upcoming projects in there.
And and if you need a translator, she is a court-certified translator.
Yes, for Polish. Yes, if you need one.
You do some accent work too, don't you? Like for actors?
Yes. If you ever need an accent work or dialect coaching, I do that as well. Yeah.
So it's Aleksandra Kaniak. She's an all-around talented person. So
I wear many different hats.
So yes, Aleksandra Kaniak here. She was here on the Bloop, only on UCLARadio.com.